What up, what up, what up, y'all? It's your boy Jamar.
And I'm Brianna.
And this is the Safe Word Podcast, Season 2.
And we're on Episode 6.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
We're almost we're over halfway through the second season.
Halfway through the second season. That's incredible.
I know,
shout out to
amazing.
us. We doing our thing, you know?
Maybe
we're not as in sync as we thought.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Moving on.
We had the right idea, though.
Exactly.
That was the point. All right, let's try it again.
Well, what are you doing? Oh, okay.
Anyway, it's been a hell of a week for us. It's been an incredible week for us. Just to talk a little bit about what we did this week. Not to brag or nothing, but in 1 week we did we went to Wildin' Out, which was great. Nick Cannon them. They went ahead and they made everybody laugh. We were in the press boxes.
Even me, because I don't even laugh at stand-up comedy, but they were pretty funny.
Yeah, she's really hard. She's a tough critic. We were in the press boxes. We were observing everything. The next day, we went to see Hamilton, which was amazing. That actually was really super dope. The cast and crew, super talented. And that was Thursday, right?
That was Thursday.
Friday. What did we do Friday? We did something.
We went to a wine tasting on Friday.
Yeah, we had a wine tasting. Yo, this has been such a massive week for us.
Yeah.
Crazy. We did a wine tasting on Friday, and that was dope. And anyway, moving right along, we're here today, and we're getting ready to talk to you guys about two very important things.
Two very important topics.
Absolutely.
Very important questions. Very controversial questions. So
controversial.
We definitely want to know what your thoughts are on these questions, and we're really excited to see what you guys comment on the Safe Word and in our email and on Instagram as well. And
just as a side note, babe, we want to pose a question to the safe space. When we eventually come out with merchandise for you guys, what do you think would be what you're most interested in? Would you like 1, hats, 2, shirts, or 3, let's say, coffee mugs? I think coffee mugs are pretty safe bet. So A, hats, B, shirts, 3, or C, coffee mugs.
AB3.
AB3. 1, 2, C. We are working on merchandise for you guys. We have had some people who have expressed interest in it, and I think that it'd be cool to rep the safe space. All right, it's more than just, a video. It's a movement. We want everybody to feel safe and express themselves and feel confident in having a potentially different opinion than our comrades. So,
facts,
son. Why don't you go ahead and tell them what the safe word is this week?
So the safe word this week is leather.
Leather, like this Italian leather right here.
Is that what this is?
It is Italian leather, no coronavirus, but it is Italian leather. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody out there who's dealing with that. But it's a segue because, Italian leather, Italy's kind of suffering. Anyhow, we have 2 questions for you guys, and I think I want to go ahead and ask the first one.
Yeah.
All right,
go
cool.
ahead and get started.
So here's the thing: we're gonna get a little pop cultural right now. I personally don't watch this show, but my co-host here, my queen here does, and I'm sure that you guys are gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. Love is Blind. So I've never seen an episode as of the filming of this particular episode. I might in the future, but I'm just gonna wait till it dies down because y'all just going OD. But there was a particular question that arose from this show that I wanted to ask you guys. That we wanted to ask you guys, and that question is: what would you do if your partner said they once dated the same sex?
If your partner was fluid or bisexual, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and
bi-curious.
I believe this situation, it spawned from one of the cast members of the show who I believe, and you can probably fill in the blanks, but who once dated, it was
Members
a
of
man
the
who
same
dated
sex.
a man in the
Yeah.
past or something like that.
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men no more. I said I like women. Women.
Yeah, so he used to date members of the same sex, and he claimed that he loved people for their heart and who they were, and gender didn't necessarily play a role in who he loved. So that would be, I guess, he classified as fluid, but to me, it's like bisexual. Like,
That would technically be like pansexual, right?
I don't know what that means.
I think
I don't know. I get so confused with all of the freaking LGBTPSHY. Like, I just get so confused.
LGBT, whatever, as long as everybody gets some RESPECT and don't bring unnecessary things around me, and we gonna be okie dokie, if you know what I mean.
All right. Very nice.
But go ahead, babe.
Well, if my partner told me that they dated people of the same sex in the past, I'm gonna go ahead and say leather, because I know that we are in a culture now that is kind of pro LGBTQ right now, and I still hold on to my values and my beliefs from the church and, from my upbringing and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't think it will work out for me. Like, if my partner told me that they used to date, because obviously my partner would be a man. So if they were to tell me that they used to date other men, even if they don't do it now, like, it would be very uncomfortable for me. And that would be something that would be in the back of my mind all the time. Like, from the moment that they told me that, you know what I mean? So I feel like it would be really hard for me to erase, and it would be really hard for me to not associate that person with, their past. And I mean, as much as we say, oh, you can't judge people for their past, and, what's in the past should stay in the past or whatever, I'm by all means not judging them for their past. I just personally don't know if I would be able to disassociate someone from their past when it comes to that, like, I honestly, it would be a very tough thing for me to, it would be a very tough pill for me to swallow, honestly. And who's to say, like, even if they claim that, oh yeah, no, I'm not dating men anymore or whatever, I feel like that still means that you're attracted to men. If you dated men in the past, that still means that you're attracted to men. So now when another man walks by us, I'm going to be thinking like, oh, is he attracted to him? Like, does he think he's cute or whatever? Like, does he think he's cuter than me? Would he want to date him? I don't want to have those thoughts, in my head. So I feel like it wouldn't really work out for me. So that's what I got to say.
Well, personally speaking, I might actually disagree, which might be a little shocking. I think that people are allowed to be different than who they were yesterday, a month ago, and even a year ago. And I believe that if someone was, let's say, gay or bisexual 10 years ago, and they decided that they wanted to, date what would be called the traditional way, the heterosexual way, then I think that as long as they're open and honest, I think that there's really no big deal with it. Now, the reason why I think I'm so nonchalant about it, and if you can tell, I'm choosing my words very carefully to not upset anybody in the grand scheme of things, because even though we both have our preferences here at the Safe Space, we respect everybody, and this is a safe space where we want everybody to feel welcome and feel free to say whatever it is that comes to their head. So maybe I'll go ahead and I'll say leather too, because we want to make sure that we make everyone feel welcome here. But here's the thing. Women do it all the time. Women literally will be with a man, but go to the strip club and start making out with females all up and down. And guys like that stuff. Some guys. And I'm going to just, me personally, I'm not too much into my partner, my woman being, with other women like that. Now, I'm not somebody who would necessarily want to date someone who is bisexual, a female who is bisexual, obviously, but I would not infringe on the rights of someone who was once bisexual. So, for example, if my girlfriend told me that 5 years ago she used to date women also, and she decided that she wanted to date men exclusively, then I would have to accept that person for who they were. And I wouldn't necessarily want to hold that against them, because there's a lot of things that we could hold against people, outside of sexuality. If someone was once an alcoholic, and they used to be someone who was just horrible to be around, but they turned their life around 5 years later and they met you and they confessed that to you, are you going to hold that against them? If they went to prison, if they robbed the store, for example, and they went to prison, but they what's the word I'm looking for? When they went to jail and they turned their life around, let's say, afterwards, and they confide that in you, you do have the right to peace out, but do I think that you should? I don't know. I personally probably, because we want to keep this centered on ourselves, I probably would still give someone a chance who went to prison for us, like, depending on what the situation is. And I probably would give someone a chance who once was bisexual. Now, the minute that it becomes an issue of, trying to bring females in this equation and things like that, because contrary to what most men would say, I'm not really interested in my girlfriend having a girlfriend. That's just not me personally. So as long as that is a part of your past, then we can move forward. And just as a side note, I really do want to know, before we move on to the next question, why is it, and we could say it's tradition or it's what we're used to, but let's think about it critically. Why is it okay for a man to date a woman who dates women, but it's not okay for a woman to date a man who dates men?
I think it's just a societal thing. Like, people would rather see women dating other women or being with other women or making out with other women or having sex with other women than to see a man have sex with another man. It's just it's kind of like a double standard type thing. Like, that's just how it is.
Oh, it's definitely a double standard.
I honestly don't know why, though, but I mean,
it's definitely a double standard.
It's more attractive for women to be together.
Personally speaking, I think that for me, both of them aren't really that attractive to me, and that's just leather again. For the third time, we are saying this just to make sure. I don't find it attractive either way. I'm into my queen, and I'm cool with that. I'm not really into like the stuff, the debauchery that you see on the street. Debauchery. But that's to each their own. Sure. I think that historically speaking, we're more accustomed to seeing women with women, and society has made it normal, whether it be media, celebrities, etc., etc. So we just have to check our bias at the door when we approach these situations. But what would you guys do? How do you feel about this situation?
Yep, let us know. Comment below in the safe space or comment in our email too. We'll take those as well. Let us know how you feel.
Absolutely. So you want to move on to the next question? Yeah.
So the next question is, how would you feel if your in-laws got a paternity test on your child?
Whoa. I feel like we kind of we went really fast into that. Let's provide a little bit of context on that, please, because I even though I knew the question was coming, I still got caught off guard. So you're in a situation, and you're in a marriage, and
your in-laws basically didn't trust. So let's say you were the female, and your husband's parents didn't trust you per se. And when they heard that you guys were having a baby, they went ahead behind your back and ended up getting a paternity test on the child just to make sure that their son was indeed the father. Or if you were the male and your wife's parents wanted to get a paternity test to make sure that you were indeed the father because they don't trust their daughter. I mean,
or like the parents of the husband, because they didn't trust that the daughter-in-law was being faithful.
Yeah.
Well,
so how would you feel basically if your in-laws got a paternity test on your child?
That's a whole mess.
How would that make you feel?
That's
it is a mess.
I will say straight up, I probably would be infuriated. For one thing, is that even allowed? Like, is it possible for the parents to get a DNA test done on a child that's not their child? Is that the parents of the husband and wife? Is that even allowed? I don't know, but if it is, I personally think that that's messed up. I think that's a gross overstepping of the bounds. And I think y'all need to back the hell up, because no matter what's going on, you're taking matters into your own hands, and that's not your place, me personally speaking.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely think that's overstepping. Like, I feel like when it comes to your child and their relationship, especially in a marriage, there's certain things that you just don't do. Like, there's certain things that you have to back away from, because at the end of the day, it is their marriage or relationship if they're not married, but it's their relationship. And I know as a parent, like, you always want to protect your child and be there for your child, but there's certain things that you just kind of have to step back and let your child figure out for themselves, even if you feel like that may be the case. Now, you can always offer some sound advice, but I mean, going to the point of getting a whole paternity test on the baby, like, that's just crazy. I would definitely be infuriated as well. Number one, because I feel like that's an insult, because you're basically telling me like I'm a hoe. Basically, you're telling me like, this girl be sleeping around, bro. Like, we just trying to look out for you, son. No, like, I feel like that's definitely an insult. I would be infuriated as well. It would definitely put it would cause a lot of tension in the family, because I feel like, me personally, just my personality, I would not even speak to the parents after that. Like, it would be a whole problem. Like, I'm not saying that my husband will have to choose between me and his parents, but I would not have a relationship with the parents after that. I just feel like that is going way overboard, and that's stepping way over the line, and you should not be in that area. Like, parents should be here, and I feel like that area is like way over here. You know what I mean? Like, that's a no-no.
Well, curveball, what if let's say the daughter cheated in the past, or let's say they do the paternity test and there's truth that the husband is not the father.
Well, if the daughter or me in this situation cheated and they wanted to get a paternity test, I would feel more, I guess, understanding as to, like, I guess, their motives. I would understand why they wanted to do. Now, don't get me wrong, it would still make me feel a certain type of way. I would still get upset, but I wouldn't react in the same way, because I could understand where they're coming from, and I could put myself in their shoes and kind of get like, okay, I see why you wanted to get a paternity test. But like, if I never cheated, I never gave my husband a reason to doubt me or to not trust me, and they just went ahead and got a paternity test because they just think, they have their own thoughts or whatever. No, like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I definitely think there's some gray area if the wife had an extramarital affair in the past or whatnot. Even if in this situation, some of you wives out there with your work husbands, that's a whole conversation for another day, but some of y'all get a little too friendly with these work husbands. But if there's a reason that the parents have to insinuate otherwise, it's still borderline inappropriate. And even if there's some truth to be found in that discovery, I, as the husband, I still would feel the type of way about my parents doing that. So that is that. But what do you think? What y'all think?
What y'all think?
Have you been in that situation before? Have you had a friend who's been in that situation before? Or what would you do if you were in that situation? Let us know. We would love to hear your thoughts.
Yes.
And your stories. We nosy. We want to hear what y'all got to
say.
Right. And with that being said, we're going to draw this episode to a close. And is that even the right phrase? I don't think so. We're going to bring this episode to a close.
I thought it sounded good.
So, yeah, you know, well. We're going to bring this episode to a close. And we want to thank you guys for being so faithful to the safe space. Continue living out your truths and saying, you know, the things that you feel
what's on your mind.
Exactly. Need to be said, even if you're the only one saying it. Until next time.